Okay, hi everyone. So I had some problems. I don't know why the live it's stick got stuck. Why the live got stuck? But I am so sorry about that. I am trying to download Streamlabs so that we can get a better streaming service. So what I'm gonna do, I have my other computer trying to get that on because on this computer it's not allowing me to to do that. So we got to fish. Where in the Caribbean will you find fish resources? Fish. Where do you find fish? I hope everyone comes back on. Anyone there yet? Let me know if you are there. Okay, Kimaya. Good. Sorry about that. I think my internet dropped or something at that time. I am trying to download Streamlabs, but my friend spoke too soon like he jinxed me, right? MMM. I think it's MMM. MMM, what is your real name? You talk too soon, you make the life stick. He made the life stick, right? He jinxed me, right? But I'm gonna try to download Streamlabs so that I can get a better live stream. He said it's better than the one that I was using. So I will try that. All right, so fish resources. Where can we find fish resources in the Caribbean? Where's MMM? Is he here? Sorry, Jassy. I think it was the live. My internet itself. So fish resources. Where can we find fish resources? I won't be able to share the PowerPoint, but what I will do, I put some links for you all to check out that you can get the resources on because I'm not able to share right now from Streams Labs. So that's the problem. Where Mr. MMM? Where he gone to? He is the one that jinxed me, I never had that problem. So the life dropped. So we are on fish resources. Tell me where you find fish in the Caribbean, or which islands in the Caribbean is dominant for the fishing industry, has a dominant fishing industry, or where you would find fisheries available. Nobody knows where you find fish resources in the Caribbean? Countries in the Caribbean. No, Jassy. No, no, no. Countries with a dominant fishing industry. Well, yes, Jassy, you would find the Gulf of Paria, they would do some fishing. But in terms of the syllabus, which countries they really want you all to look at in terms of fish resources? So Belize, very good. Anybody know why Belize? So Belize, Kimaya is saying Jamaica. Jamaica, yes, but not to the extent of Belize and the Bahamas Islands, Cuba, right? So let me type it in the chat for you. So you have Belize, Bahamas, Cuba, and also Guyana. You have dominant fishing industries there, right? So those are the ones that you should know, right? Where you have them. What about limestone? Where would you find limestone? And in the last live that we did, that was on Saturday, I believe, we went through Saturday or Sunday, one of those days, Saturday, we went through these. So, limestone, where would you find limestone? Jamaica, very good, Cilicia. Where else in the Caribbean would you find limestone? What other country is heavily developed or consists of limestone? Remember last time I was telling you all about those countries that are limestone in nature and those that are volcanic. So let me know. Barbados, very good. Barbados and another country, Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico. So make note of that, Puerto Rico. Petroleum and natural gas, of course, Trinidad and Tobago, and do you all know recently Guyana have discovered oil. So they are also going to be going heavily into the oil and gas industry. So natural gas, Trinidad and Tobago, and Guyana. Um, Limestone would be Barbados, Jamaica, and Puerto Rico. And then you have bauxite. Where do you find bauxite? Bauxite resources. Bauxite. Jamaica and Guyana. Very good. Right. Then we need to go into industrial location of factories in the Caribbean with respect to factors influencing the development of an industrial location. So, what are some of the factors that influence industrial location in the Caribbean? What are some things that we depend on, or some of the things that influence the location? So you can have both physical factors and you can have human factors that influence the location of an industry. So very good. One of the first thing is of course proximity or closeness to the raw material sites. So raw material is very important. And what is the raw material? The raw material is that good, right? Or commodity that is needed to produce whatever product, right? So usually in the Caribbean, industries are set up very near to the raw material site, especially if it is a bulky or heavy raw material. You all understand that? So, for example, in Trinidad and Tobago, the oil and gas industry, you have all of the industrial estates like Point Lisa or Atlantic LNG. They are very close to the site of the oil and natural gas. So, you don't find in the north of Trinidad and Tobago, like in Port of Spain, or in the west, that you find, of course, an industry that deals with oil and petroleum, right? So point the point of Pierre industrial estate, right, all the way to Atlantic LNG, you locate very close to the site. Also, where you have bulky natural resources, things like bauxite and limestone, you will want to locate the industry very close to the raw material site. Everybody understand that? What is another factor that influences the location of an industry? What is another factor? So that factor can be both physical or human. Very good. Energy. Energy. Energy is very important. Energy source and a supply of labor. So an industry will locate in an area where it is easily accessible to have an energy supply to operate the industry. Right? So very good, Calicia and Jassy. Right? So especially in the past, you would have had industries located near to sources like coal and water, right? Because they were really responsible for generating energy. But now, in most modern times, of course, energy is readily available through the use of electricity. So, this factor of energy may not be as crucial as back then, but energy is still very important, right? Another important factor in terms of physical factor is what? Isa, I am not able to screen share because the actual app that I was using, I think it's sticking, so it was giving some problems. So I'm not screen sharing, but I'm going to download Streamlabs for the next session so that it would be a bit easier to share um, the PowerPoint, right? So far we said proximity or closeness to the raw material site. We also looked at the availability of energy sources, which we said back then was crucial back then, but it's not as important in modern times. Availability of labor, that's a human factor, right? What is another physical factor that influence the location of an industry? When we look at maps, what is one of the, oh, David is saying open areas. Well, yes, to an extent, but remember, not, hi, David, David is my friend, you are. Not all open area, not all industries are located in open areas. Some are very in close to the city or on the outskirts of the city. But what is important is the availability of flat land. So relief is very important. The relief of the land is very important, right? You cannot locate an industry, or it is more difficult to locate the industries on steep slopes. Everybody understand that? Just give me a second to plug in this computer. Okay, so steep slopes, right? Generally, the relief of the land is a very important control on industries on flat lands. Other human, very good, Isa. Nice. Where MMM gone? After he jinxed my life, and not seeing him back on the live, right? Okay, a next, a next factor. What is another factor very important? So on the syllabus they gave you, let me highlight the ones they give you: raw materials, energy, transport, right? Transportation is very important. So you're going to locate your industry very close to roads and highways. So it's easily accessible for you to transport the good or the product. So for example, in Trinidad and Tobago, if you notice, right, Joe, is this my next account? I'm not too sure what you're referring to, Dreju, right? Um, all of our industries, or most of them, are very close to the highway. So the Point of Pierre Industrial Estate, then you have Atlantic. If you look at where the major industrial parks are, right? All of those are very close to roads so that it's easy to transport. With oil and gas, they are also very close to the coast, and you would see that there are a lot of pipelines, because remember, a lot of the oil comes from offshore. Not oil is offshore. Remember that, right? Not all sources of oil are offshore. You have onshore, on land, and offshore. So offshore meaning in water or below the sea with the extraction of it, and then on land would be, of course, where you extract it from the ground, right? So where you have point up here, you have pipes and all of the pipes that lead out to sea to get that oil and gas. Everybody understand that? Dredro, oh, this is your other account. So your MMM, what's your real name? And drop your real name for me. Are you all following me so far? Okay, good. Next one, they talked about markets. Markets is also very important. Why is the market important? Market is a factor. Hi, Shakira. Market as a factor. How does that influence the location of an industry? Market. The market. How would you explain the factor of market for your exam? So you know how to explain raw materials, energy, transport. How would you explain market? How is market an important factor in an industry locating where it is? An industry location, market. I know you all know this. Oh, okay. So, David, when we were talking about market, we're not just referring to Trinidad and Tobago in terms of oil and natural gas, but we are referring to markets on a whole. How would markets influence the location of an industry? So the location meaning the site of the industry. So remember when we did map work, we talked about site and we talked about situation. So the site is the actual location of that particular industry, and the situation would be the external factors that influence its location. So for example, markets, right? If you are selling fish, okay, so Calicia is saying when they are near to their target market allows them to earn more revenue as they would be able to transport goods easily. So important, hi Listra, what is important with market is that you need to find a market to sell your product to, right? For example, if you want to go into business and you want to sell, let us say, um, what is something that is trending? Some sort of hair product. Or for guys, you want to sell sneakers. And you need to find a market, right? It's the same way with an industry. They would tend to locate close to their market, or they would source particular markets. For example, as I think Alicia was saying, yes, right? They have to be able to identify who are who are, are their main markets, right? So for example, in the Caribbean, the selling of bauxite and oil and gas we sell to the US. So we know that the US is our market, right? But let us talk about local industries. Where local industries set up, they tend to set up close to their markets because it is cheaper if you are closer to the market than further away. The further you are from the market, the more expensive it becomes to transport your commodity. Everybody understand that? Do you all recognize right now there's a new trend of online businesses, right? And because the online businesses, right, uh, are online and they are not necessarily in a physical space, do you realize that they are all actually asking you all to pay $30 and $35 delivery fee? That is because they now have to transport the good from their home to your particular location or home. You understand that? So the market is very important. You must locate an industry close to the market so that you reduce your transportation costs. Is that clear? Is that clear? Let me know. And when it's an overseas market, you need to identify your markets first. You can't go into business and you don't know who you're selling to. You all understand that? So you have to identify who you're going to transport, who you're going to sell your goods to. Do you all understand? Drejo, thank you very much for telling those to like the video. Very nice of you. What school do you go to? And what's your real name? Very good, Jassy and Isa. Very good. Okay, so the other factor here, right, in the location of an industry is capital. What is capital? Do you all know what is capital? You all know what is capital. What is capital? David, are you doing geography this year? I see you're in all my classes. Or you just like to hear my voice? Or learn geography? Benedict, nice. It's nice to have you. I think, is Isa from Benedict's too? I know Jassy is from Tobago. What is capital? Hi, Faith. Hi, Faith. Welcome back. Welcome back. Both. Well, you're welcome to hear and listen and learn. Very good. Hey, Rashonda, what you doing here? What you doing here? Rashonda, you all is my sixth form student. She is in upper six, unit 2 Cape. Why you here giving away answers to my students? Naparima or Isa is from Naparima. Nice to have you all. You learning industries in unit 2. Okay, well, true, true. But I don't want you to give away the answers. Let the CSEC students give away the answers. So for Cape Unit 2, you have to, there's a component of industries as well that we learn. So capital is the money that is needed to start the business or to invest in the business or to start the industry. Very good, right? So capital is very important. Again, if you are going to start a business, and let us think of a business in terms of not an online business, but a physical location, a site, right? You're going to need money, and we call that money capital. So, mula is capital in geography. The geography or the geographical jargon or language is capital. So, remember, capital is the money, your assets, not just money alone, but the assets that is need to start the business or the industry, right, is capital. So without capital, then you cannot begin to invest in the industry. So to develop an industrial site, you must have capital because of course you need money maybe to build the infrastructure, meaning infrastructure has to do with roads and buildings. So you need money, right, to set up the industry. Everybody follow that? And then we have the other factor that we have here is the role of the government. How is the role of the government important in industrial location? Government. This is just the role of government means the government. Government. How is government important? Think about our situation for people that are in Trinidad. Think about the oil and gas industry and the role that the government play in Petrotrin when Petrotrin was functional, or the role that that the government plays in any other industry. Anybody have an idea in terms of government? Very good, Calicia. Governments offer incentives. So, for example, in your country, there would be several areas that are designated or would be designed for industries, and we call them industrial parks. So I'm not too sure if you've ever heard of the term industrial parks, but like Petrotrin area, that is an industrial, Petrotrin Point Pier area, that is an industrial park, right? We have in the east, we have the Omera Industrial Park. You would have that Atlantic LNG industrial area. Anybody else know of any industrial areas down on your side? Government can make and change laws. Very important. Very good. So government often encourage industrial location in certain areas by providing grants and tax-free incentives. So they actually give them, grants to locate in certain places. I am not too sure if you all heard about the incident where they wanted to bring Point Lisa's, very good, Point Lisa's Industrial Park. Yes, where they wanted to um, build a smelter plant. Did you all hear about that? They wanted to build a smelter plant in Trinidad and Tobago, and where it was going to be constructed or located was in a rural area, but it was um, close by to some settlements, and the people in that area, they actually kick a fuss about it. They protested and they said no, they didn't want this smelter plant here because it will cause a lot of pollution and it would affect their health. So what happened is that the government decided in the end that they will not go ahead with building the smelter plant. So up to this day we never had the smelter plant. Right? What is a smelter plant? So it is used for aluminum and bauxite. It's an industrial park that processes aluminum and bauxite. So we never set up the smelter plant. Also, again, remember government has a lot of say in what happens, especially if it's a government owned industry like Petrotrin, where they closed Petrotrin. You all heard about that? You all know that Petrotrin is officially um, it was closed, right? Because they said they was not making a lot of money and a lot of revenue, so they closed it and they privatized it, and open it up for private industries to now take over it, right? So in terms of government plays an important role in where industries are located and what type of industries are set up and where it is set up, and they often offer incentives for both private in terms of people, the small person, and of course the individual, and of course government tend to play that role. Everybody understand government's role? Also, in some countries, like in Jamaica and Belize, they have what we call, yes, Renako. They were operating at a loss, so they had to close, right? Um, in some countries, government have set up what we call free trade zones, where there are tax exemptions for 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 certain types of industries and for purchasing certain items. So tax free trade zones developing countries like Jamaica, in the Belize, where there are borders. Belize has a border close to Mexico. So government plays that important role in terms of deciding where industries can develop or locate. And do you know that a government can also move you? You know, when they're constructing highways, like the major highways in Trinidad and Tobago, and you know, now they are expanding to a third lane, they actually pay people off sometimes, and they get them off of the land if they really need to utilize that land. So if they want to construct an industry in a particular area and you have land there, they can possibly buy you out and locate there. Do you all understand that? So does everyone understand that? Okay, good. So are you all tired now? Right? I think I probably should stop because it's like 37 minutes here and we have been on a little bit after 5 on the last live. So you have to go into now industries in the Caribbean and you have to choose fishing or forestry, oil and gas or bauxite. So I am not too sure which ones you all chose for your case study at school, but I did presentation with my students. So they did all of them. So at the end, they could choose whichever case study that they feel more comfortable with, right? I will go live again tomorrow. Yes, I will, Issa. Right? So fishing, the case study that you use is Belize. Forestry, you can use Guyana, right? And that's in your, if you use in CSEC New Integrated Geography, that is by Mr. Sheldon Blesdell. They have really good case studies. And then, of course, oil and natural gas is Trinidad and Tobago. Bauxite, you can use Jamaica or you can use Guyana again. So we will run through those case studies tomorrow, please God, because it's either or, but I think you should have a general idea of all of them and choose the one that you feel most comfortable with doing for the exam. Is that okay? So, what I want you all to do is do a little bit of revision for tomorrow. So, do some revision on the forestry case study, do some reading on the fishing case study, oil and gas and bauxite, because it is four case studies that we're going to try to complete in tomorrow's live. Anybody have exams tomorrow? Anybody have exams this week? I know people have exams all week, so it might be hard to come on to the live after you had a long day. Well, Dre, the the insights that I have basically comes from what they tell us on the broad topics. But from what I notice is that you see that physical chapter, um, the physical module is on weathering and rocks. That is really straightforward. That is a easy section. Natural hazards is also very straightforward. But the human questions tend to give you all a lot of trouble, like the map work, because it's more writing and analysis. So that is why I'm focusing on the human system broad topic. But I think what will come, I have some questions and answers that we would go through for all of the economic activity questions. We'll go through all of them so that you have an idea of how to answer them, or we answer the past papers. But Dre, I was doing map work all of last week. Where were you? Right? Where were you? Go back to the videos that we did if you wasn't here on landscape descriptions and do the questions. We did the Barbados map, which is 2014, I believe, and we did Point Michelle, which is 2018. Or you now find the channel today. Well, you have some catching up to do. All the videos, all the videos are loaded. All the videos are up. So you can go back to them and you would see what we did. Right? Small things. So you have catching up to do. Right? So that is why we only today we started doing the broad topics, and we need to cover the broad topics because next week is the exam. So we need to get through this human system topics at least. Once we finish human and we run through physical and we run through environmental, that's it. We back to map reading and drill some past paper questions. How does that sound? You okay with that, Dre? Jada, you knew as well? Welcome, guys. Check out the videos. Good, good, good. So check out the videos that you missed on the map work and we will resume. So tomorrow we're finishing up human systems so that we can go through physical, go through natural hazards, and then we will hit back some map work and then pass papers next week for your exam. Yes, I am happy my audience is expanding. Thank you, Dre. I would like to meet you. I teach girls. Boys are so different to girls, you know? I teach in an all girls school. Shakira, it's nice to see you here. Okay, so later, you all, nice to have you all. And I will download Streamlabs during next day. Okay, like the video, remember to share with your friends and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss when I go live again. Okay. Bye, David. Thanks for joining me. Bye, Calissa. Faith, you there? Bye, Faith. Kimaya, bye. Bye, guys.